Imagine this. You wake up on a Monday morning. Your startup has just $42,000 left in the bank. Your team has no idea that payroll is only 3 weeks away. Your investors have stopped replying to your emails. Your biggest competitor has just announced a $250 million funding round. Everything you've worked for over the last 4 years feels like it's about to collapse. Now imagine this. Just 7 days later, that same startup signs a $100 million investment deal. Not after years, not after months, just 7 days. Sounds impossible? Maybe. But what you're about to hear is a realistic story inspired by how venture capital actually works. While the company in this story is fictional, every fundraising lesson comes from real startup journeys. Let's begin. The startup was called Nova. It wasn't famous. The founders didn't graduate from Stanford. They didn't have billionaire parents. They didn't have celebrity investors tweeting about them. It was simply 4 engineers working from a small office, trying to solve a problem that most people didn't even know existed. Nova had built software that helped global logistics companies reduce shipping costs by nearly 18%. Their customers loved the product. Every pilot they ran produced incredible results. But investors kept saying no. Not once. Not twice. More than 140 times. The feedback was always the same. Come back when you have more customers. Come back when your annual revenue crosses $1 million. Come back when you've proven product market fit. After months of rejection, the founders started questioning themselves. Maybe the product wasn't good enough. Maybe the market wasn't big enough. Maybe they weren't meant to build a billion-dollar company. Then Tuesday arrived. One of the founders attended an industry conference. She wasn't there to raise money. She wasn't looking for investors. She simply wanted honest feedback from experienced entrepreneurs. After her presentation, an older gentleman walked up to her. He had spent more than 30 years building one of the world's largest logistics companies before retiring. He listened carefully and then asked one question. If your software saves companies nearly 18%, why are you selling to small businesses? The founder paused. She didn't have an answer. The man smiled and continued, the biggest logistics companies lose billions of dollars every year. You aren't selling software. You're selling billions in savings. That single sentence completely changed how the founders looked at their business. Nothing about the product changed. Nothing about the technology changed. But their entire perspective changed. They had been selling features. What they should have been selling was impact. The very next morning, the team opened their investor pitch deck. They didn't redesign the presentation. They didn't hire a branding agency. They changed just one slide. Previously, it said, we've built an AI-powered logistics optimization platform. Now it said, we help global shipping companies save over $1 billion annually. The software was exactly the same. The product was exactly the same. But suddenly the opportunity looked much bigger. Here's something every founder needs to understand. Investors rarely invest because your technology is impressive. They invest because the outcome is massive. Nobody wants to buy a faster algorithm. People want to invest in companies capable of changing entire industries. With their new positioning, the founders scheduled meetings with 6 venture capital firms during the same week. Not to create fake hype, not to manipulate anyone, simply because momentum matters. During one meeting, an investor casually asked, so, are we the only firm you're speaking with? The founders smiled and answered honestly, we're meeting several firms this week. If we find the right long-term partner, we'll move quickly. The atmosphere in the room changed immediately. The conversation became more serious. Questions became deeper. The investors weren't just evaluating the startup anymore. They were evaluating whether they might lose the opportunity. This happens more often than people realize. Investors don't like missing great companies. And when they believe other respected investors are paying attention, they naturally begin paying closer attention too. The following day, another investor asked a simple question. How much money are you looking to raise? Instead of saying, we really need the funding, the founder replied, we're looking for the right partner to help us build the global operating system for logistics. Notice the difference. One sentence comes from need. The other comes from vision. Great founders don't ask people to save their companies. They invite investors to build something extraordinary together. By Saturday morning, the phone started ringing. One VC wanted customer references. Another requested financial models. Another wanted to meet the engineering team. One fund even asked to move their meeting forward because they had heard other firms were interested. Momentum had finally arrived. For months, nobody cared. Now everyone wanted another meeting. Here's the irony of fundraising. Many startups spend months chasing investors. The best fundraising often begins when investors start chasing the founders. Sunday evening arrived. At exactly 7:46 p.m., the founders received a phone call. One of the world's leading growth investment firms had completed its internal discussions. After reviewing the technology, speaking with customers, and evaluating the market opportunity, they believed Nova could become a category-defining company. They offered a $100 million investment, structured in milestones to support international expansion, hiring, acquisitions, and product development. For nearly 30 seconds, nobody spoke. 7 days earlier, the founders were worried about making payroll. Now they were discussing expansion across multiple continents. Did the company become dramatically better in 1 week? No. Did the technology suddenly improve overnight? No. Did customers magically appear? No. The biggest transformation wasn't inside the company. It was inside the story they were telling. They stopped explaining what they built. They started explaining why it mattered. And that's a lesson every founder should remember. Your product is only half the pitch. The other half is your ability to communicate its value. If investors don't understand your vision within the first few minutes, they probably won't invest, no matter how good your technology is. Every founder watching this should remember 5 things. First, solve a problem that's big enough to matter. Second, don't sell features, sell outcomes. Third, position your company around the size of the opportunity, not just the product. Fourth, momentum attracts momentum. The more credible conversations you have, the easier fundraising becomes. And finally, never raise money because you're desperate. Raise money because you're ready to grow faster than you could on your own. Now, before you leave, I want to ask you one question. If someone gave you $100 million today, would it make your startup successful? Or would it simply make your existing problems bigger? Because funding doesn't create great companies. Great companies attract funding. Build something people genuinely need. Learn how to communicate its value. Stay resilient through rejection. And remember, every billion-dollar company was once an unknown startup that almost gave up. If you enjoyed this story and want more startup lessons, fundraising strategies, and business breakdowns, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video.